Would you please all write what's been one great thing about your week so far? I'm gonna put you all on mute. I love y'all. I'm just gonna put you on mute. Not you, Lawrence. What's been one great thing about your week so far? All right, Maya, found an apartment. I'm like, woohoo! You might move into it. Yeah, personal space. Oh, there's that thing. Yeah, right on. All right, close to clients, serving two since your Monday call. Crushing it, brother. Fantastic. Construction addition to the house almost. We're rooting for you, Danielle. So rooting for you. Excellent. Great progress in pursuing the area of personal passion. Yes, Rob, and I can't wait for you and me to catch up so I can hear all about it. Indeed. Yeah, John, I'm sure you're gonna put something in there. We've got a new dog, and they're both laying down over there. They're my office supervisors. Surviving rototilling my backyard. I hope that you didn't go under the rototiller, John. But we are glad for that too. That would be a really awkward headline in the newspaper. So, indeed, Allison, welcome. Becky, welcome. If you two would put something great about your week in the chat so far, we would love it. Welcome and welcome back. Absolutely. Becky runs a fantastic organization called Pathway, serving the IDD community, intellectual and developmental disabilities. Becky has one of the biggest hearts of anybody I know, and I adore her. Allison, we're getting to know each other. So glad you're showing up. Allison is launching a copyright business. And so she is helping people get better with their writing. And so, Allison, if you got a link for your site, anybody here who has a link for your business, please put it in the chat. We all want to know. You're here to connect. You're here to get a lesson, but you're here to connect. So let us know if you want to put that link in. We'd love to know what you're up to so we can support that. Here comes Mark Elwood from Toronto. Mark, welcome. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. And there's Kimberly from Michigan. Kimberly,
around.
Yeah, bouncy, bouncy, bounce. Absolutely. Yes. Excellent. Mark, is it hot in Toronto as well?
Sure is, but lovely day out today. A little bit of clouds. We're going to go play tennis later because every day is a great day.
You're so right. And that color is smashing on you. Is that your tennis blues?
This is, yeah, I got a haircut and yeah, tennis shirt. So there we go. I love the energy of these calls.
Thank you, Mark. Well, the guests make the party, so thanks for being here. Excellent. And in fact, Mark and Kimberly, if you would put something great about your week so far in the chat bar, I don't know if it'd be great if it was a bar, right? How about a drink? Anyway, put it in the chat and we're gonna roll because that's what being a boss means. I don't know about you, but LinkedIn was one of those platforms that I had been on for a long time, relatively speaking, several years, and I never really did anything with it. And, if that was you, yeah, I see a couple head nods, and that's cool. It's totally cool. There's no judgment here. Then one day I was talking with an uncle I reconnected with, and he said, Ginger, you want to think about LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, Uncle Lynn, tell me why. He told me why, listening, absorbing, and learning from my Uncle Lynn. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds good. And then I promptly let it go. So you thought I was going to say something different. I probably let it go. And then I revisited it a couple of years later. And in the revisitation, I thought, wait a minute, my Uncle Lynn said something that there was something to this. So I went onto LinkedIn and I found my Uncle Lynn's profile. And oh my gosh, I think that's where my hair went. I like, woo, there's something going on here. This is amazing. And so with a nod and a nudge from my Uncle Lynn, I started getting active on LinkedIn. And then I kind of went nuts in a really middle class kind of way. And I knew I wanted to do a lot with it. I felt like I found some of my people just like you all. And I really wanted to get smart about how to serve the community. So I hired a couple of different coaches. Fast forward about 2.5 years, we are here today. Today's extra special guest is my brother from another. He's the first one who said that. I'm going to own it too. Is Lawrence Henderson. And Lawrence reached out to me on LinkedIn. Many of us, I think all of us here are connected on LinkedIn. Some of us started our connection on LinkedIn, which is phenomenal. Lawrence is one of those people. He sent me an invite, and it was a personalized invite. So the first piece of juice today, for those of you who are new, the juice is the lesson. the juice with using LinkedIn is you personalize the invite. You send the invite with a personalized message, because that is that like a small percentage, my friends, a tiny small percentage actually does that. Well, why are you on a connecting platform if you don't give somebody a reason to say, hey, come on in, let's talk? Lawrence did that. There was something about him that was different to me. Just the energy felt different to me. And so we scheduled a call, but it was about a month out. And then I thought, oh no, that's not going to do, is it, Lawrence?
Not at all.
Not at all. And so I'm like, no. And it was a Friday, and I messaged him back. I'm like, can we talk Monday? For those of you who know me, know I'm not patient. And now all of you do. And he said, yes. And so we hit the ground running. I am so grateful Lawrence reached out and connected. Lawrence has a great business, Be a Boss. He's going to share a bit about what that's about in 3 parts of a lesson today. You are all bosses of your own. Super grateful you're here. And so let's go. Keep the chat rolling. You are welcome to connect with each other while we are on this call. You can answer questions. You can tell where you're from, like anything like that. We will answer all the questions you have until we're done today too. So we'll go. Use the chat. I am a teacher who believes in letting the side conversations flourish, because that's where some real magic can happen. If that's good for you, then be the boss of your chat. So, Lawrence, where does boss come from, first of all?
Oh, boss was manifested as a result of me transitioning out of the Army a little over 5.5 years ago. And like most of you, when you first got involved with LinkedIn, it was an extension of your resume in long form. And I was connected to every recruiter known to man and woman on planet Earth. And I read their articles about elevator pitches and spiels, but I didn't fit in any of the boxes. And so when I used to go to these networking events, we'll get to connection soon, networking, I wanted to be in the world of human resources. But I always wanted, after I said what I wanted to, go vomit somewhere, because I was like, that's not me at all. And I was like, who am I? What do I do with the world? And so originally I was a business operational support specialist. That's where boss originally came from. Yeah, mouthful, right?
What the heck?
Exactly. So it made people actually read my card, and then they look up and say, what do you do? And Ginger helped me craft this message. I help people get unstuck. It's kind of how it went, right? And so boss, as I thought about the world, and I said, you know what? There are more people that want to connect. They want to be something, but they don't know exactly what to tap into. And I was like, that's when boss really launched in long form business operational support services, LLC, aka boss. So that was the birth of all of that. So yeah, boss, there I am.
Boss. Yeah. so boss, but that word is such a loaded word sometimes.
It is.
Like, what kind of reactions have you got to the word boss?
Yeah, some visceral reactions, because they think about somebody in their past that has harmed them. And so then I have to help them break it. It's an acronym. I come from the world of acronyms and books, and you need a decoder ring half the time, and whether you're any service of the military. So any veterans out there, thank you for your service. But that sparks a discussion, because then it gets quickly into, well, do you have characteristics of a boss? Somebody who tells people what to do? And like, no. But when I really get into the conversation of what I do in organizational development, leadership, coaching, training, and speaking, that is the broader conversation, particularly when it comes to connection and why I do what I do.
All right. Excellent. Well, you just segued right into lesson 1, 2, and 3. So when I invite guests, I want to make sure that they bring a lot of value to you all. So, yeah. And this is month 4. So glad. And Lawrence brings a completely different vantage point to us all. And that's one thing that I really appreciate, frankly, about all of you. You all have so much to share. You teach, we learn from each other and so forth. So truly, it's such a gift to be with a boss. And so lesson number 1 that you want to give us today, Lawrence, in being a boss and connecting authentically with your world. Go for it. Number 1.
Number 1, connect past hello and goodbye.
Ooh.
Yeah, very loaded. Very loaded.
What does that mean?
So Again, I already gave you a tidbit, came from the military. Every duty station I had, I went to 5 different duty stations where the military so graciously assigned me friends and family members and all those other things in the form of a unit. But when I transitioned out, I really didn't have a tribe. And so what I was quickly trying to do was I was trying to make people fit into a bubble that they didn't necessarily sign up for. And so my wife graciously pulled me to the side and said, people don't friend the way you do. Because I was trying to, I was dragging everybody with me. Like all of a sudden you're a battle buddy and you're willing to go to war for me. She was like, no, nobody signed up for that. and so I began to have to connect differently. And so that was really when the 30-second pitch, 1.5 minute pitch got thrown out the window. And I began wanting to connect with people past their position description, and I want to get to the person. And so I started being thoughtful anytime I met someone new, and I would always ask something to the effect of, what drives you?
What kind of responses did you get?
Silence. and stunned faces, because nobody practiced that, which was the point. Like, what drives you? And again, if you're at a HR networking event or a MBA networking event or project management, everybody is ready on the tip of their tongue with leading what they do. And they want a soapbox and they want to do all that thing because that's how they've told you network. But I wanted to connect. What drives you? Because I want to know how I can help. And so past hello, past goodbye, how can I connect? And I take it happened when after 3 straight events, my first 9 months out of the military, I literally went to, probably about 60 paid events, because everybody was like, you got to get out there. You got to get out there. You got to relationship build. You got to do all this stuff. And 3 events in a row met the same woman that asked me for a business card every time.
Oops. Okay.
Didn't remember me. So the 3rd time, crazy enough, the place I was working at.
Into the background, Lawrence.
Oh,
some people have face blindness. Just saying.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go there with you, Maya. Thanks for that. But no. So funny and oddly enough, I was at the time working at a place that she had just got hired onto, and I was working in the HR information system place, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going? Congratulations! I'll be looking to see you in the lunch area." And she looked at me like I had something growing out of my forehead. And she goes, "Can I have a card?" And I said, "No, you have 2. And I walked away.
Oh.
And that right then sparked the connecting the dots journey of I need to create my own environment, my own community around people who want to do this the right way. So yeah, connection, pass hello, pass goodbye.
60 paid events, meaning you paid.
Yes.
To get into 60. How much did you tally that up? Did you want to tally that up?
No. my wife might be listening.
Grad school, anyone? You can put that towards your degree.
Oh my gosh.
What a fantastic story. Right.
Yeah.
Put yes or no in the chat if you've gone to gobs of networking events. Go ahead to the chat, everyone. Like, that symbol is on. Yes or no. Been to lots of networking events. Jennifer, we're really glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. All right.
Great job. Some that are saying no.
And I think, Rob, you're a veteran, aren't you? Yes, you are. Thank you for your service. Anybody else here a veteran? Raise your hand. Anybody else? Okay. Well, we're all super grateful. John, thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Great one. So first lesson is beyond hello and goodbye.
Yep.
Find out what drives you. That's a really big question, Lawrence. We'll crack that another time because I want to know more about that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So lesson number 2 in connecting being a boss, meaning being a boss of your own life, owning your ownness with human connection. What you got for number 2?
Number 2 is you have to be clear around your identity and your why. As I was going to these events, like I said, on this side of life, I didn't truly understand how specialized certain industries wanted you to be. And I was constantly fighting against the narrative that people wanted me to spit out of my mouth as a form to try to put me in their box that they wanted to place me in. And so there was a moment in that 9 months that I transitioned out that I got to a really, really dark place. And it was really around identity. And it was really around, why am I here? And what do I give to the world outside of uniform? Because so much of my energy, so much of my life was tied to that uniform and being Major Henderson. And so I always tell coaching clients, I am my first client. And so I had to go deep. And it was all around self-awareness. It was all around that self-management of what was coming up for me, naming it, claiming it, and then, okay, how do we move past it? Well, I didn't do so well on my own. I needed other people. And again, the closest people to you sometimes can be the quickest resources. My wife, she looked at me and she said, why don't you read your resume, and you need to shake yourself loose because you're better than this.
And I was like, a great woman.
I was like, okay, all right, gut check, real quick, right in the middle of the belly button. And so I was like, okay, who am I? And then it was like, if you woke up tomorrow and never got paid for it, what would you do? I was like, development of people. I was like, I connect dots. I bridge the gap between where they are to where they desire to be. And I said it a couple more times. And I was like, what does that look like? Then it got more granular. It was like, okay, I teach people life skills. I teach people to own their identity of self-awareness. Why do they feel? And it began to get narrow and narrow and narrow. And then it was like, boom, hit me right in the face. It was like, you're the foundation. You're the foundation for people. Because most times when people ebb and flow and they move with the wind, they have no clue where they fit. And so that's where coaching came up for me. And so as a coach, I literally say, I am that coach that holds the space for your self-discovery. It's not my agenda, it's yours. And so whether you're a CEO down to an individual contributor, when you come into a session with me, I hold space. And I ask you from the jump, what are we working on today? Not that goal that you said you had. Yeah, we'll get to that. But why are you here today? And so I hold that space. So yeah, the big why. So I know why I'm here. I set foundations for people, and I hold the space. That's why good Lord gave me these shoulders, so I can hold the line.
Excellent. Very good. So that lesson number 2 in a phrase, Lawrence, what would you call it?
Own the big why.
It's the only one to have.
Yeah.
Right on. Your why is your purpose. Several of you have seen me teach, brought me in to teach on the why. That's the first thing I teach everybody. Absolutely. So super important. Danielle, you just experienced that last week. Becky, I know that you're really familiar with it. And I know, Maya, even though you and I go back almost a decade, Maya, you and Rob would be a great connection. So would you two, Rob Hill and Maya, you two connect? You have some stuff to talk about. Yeah. What's your why? Because when you're flapping in the wind, when you're not the wind that you're talking about, Lawrence, you're absolutely right. You're like, oh, well then when you're not the wind, you are at the whim.
Exactly.
You get to decide, my friends. So outstanding. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Lesson number 2, own your big why.
Yeah.
Do you know what your why is, my friends? Everybody on the juice today. Do you know what your why is? If you do, move forward. And for the record, give yourself some grace. Lawrence is a remarkable friend. We've gone deep quickly. I'm super grateful.
Yeah.
We're going to do this thing forever. And he's already helping me gut check. And we're doing it back and forth. And the best people will help you with your why. Ask for help, my friends. That was a big lesson I gave on a seminar I gave earlier today, is like, ask for help. The smartest, strongest people in the room are the people who ask for help. They're also the most effective, because when you ask and then you ask for help, there's two different. Curiosity drives asking for help because you're trying to figure something out. And I would bet you, I'm not going to bet you my dogs, but almost I'd bet you my dogs that everybody you ask wants to help you. Even if they don't know how, or if they don't know if they quote can, they can simply by saying, yes, I want to help you, Lawrence. Yes, I want to help you, Becky. That is enough propulsion sometimes. That's all the fuel we need in the tank sometimes. Like, oh, great. I know that Kimberly's got my back. I know she's here for me. Like, that's what we're asking for sometimes when we're asking for help. Sometimes it's more specific, but we're always asking, will you support me? Will you be part of this tribe? And as I make this decision or as I move forward. So good. Own the big why. If you know what your why is, put yes in the chat. If you're still working it out, you know, Lawrence is a fantastic coach. He's behavior change. He's brilliant with it. I definitely coach people too. Like, if you need help finding a coach, you can reach out to either of us, and we're not going to try to persuade you. Coaching has changed both of our lives. And I know some of you use coaches too. Coaches change your lives. Find the right coach. Both of us will gladly have a conversation with you to help you figure out how to find the right coach. And there's like, we'll do that friendly. I just volunteered you for that, Lawrence. But
no, it's all good.
Yes,
I do it.
The bad coaching situations leave a really bad taste in your mouth. I know a couple of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And so you want the right person to support you. It is a big leap of faith, truly. Mm-hmm. All right, great. So we've got the focus on why, own the big why. We've got the first lesson, which was beyond the goodbye, hello and goodbye. Lesson number 3, being a boss, your life, be in the wind with connection. What do you got, Lawrence?
Know and follow your North Star. So, know and follow your North Star. It's all about values. Your principles that wake you up each and every day and allow you to connect to others. If you don't know what you stand for, you'll fall for anything. And a lot of people believe, because of my background in the military, that's a lot of where your values come from. Well, I'm the son of a preacher man, and my values were established early, and it wasn't all around religion, but it was around the understanding of respect, integrity, service, and operating with excellence. But then there's this one out there that I love has joined the party of altruism and being selfless with the way that I show up for people. And how I operate in that, my values is, I've worked a long time to show up without judgment, understanding I got a lot of head cheese and a lot of religious principles and a lot of stuff that show up with me, but to show up for somebody without judgment, but being careful in the way that I connect is probably some of the best personal work I could have done, is to really say, what do my values look like in action? And I'd say the example of that for me over the last several years, particularly in a coaching environment, is years ago when I first started down learning modalities, I was all around what types of people, clients, don't you want to have? And that list immediately went in. Certain identities of people were on that list. But then it was like, so do you coach people or do you coach the people that you like? And it was like, because people need help, regardless of where they come from, regardless of background. And I was like, okay, that's not very God-like and Jesus-like of me to actually have a separate list. I said, so how can I show up to be an example? It was like, no judgment. Hold the space. Hold the space. That's the light. That's the light. Be the light for people, because they may be in darkness and you can help them kind of breadcrumb their way out of this thing. And so know and follow your North Star. And so I strive each and every day to walk in the action of my values.
Because action over ideas
Always win.
Always says that's right on your website.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Wow. You have so many great lessons.
Yeah.
Those are 3 terrific ones. Those are all big powder kegs.
Yeah, they are.
I'm loving that you are all chatting. Keep it going. Yes. Keep connecting with each other. And here's where we can start asking, who's got a question for Lawrence? If you got a question for me too, Lawrence is on our love seat today. What do you have as far as a question? And like, any question is fair game. So if you have them, go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll get to them. While we're waiting, if there are any, Lawrence, let's you and me keep going, because I know you got a million of them.
Yes, I do.
A couple of good lessons. I want to crack the nut actually on how you said you're the son of a preacher man.
Yeah.
And my grandpa was pastor. And a lot of family members are in the clergy and so forth. And I understand that. And would I be guessing correctly, Lawrence, if I said that faith happens to be part of your foundation and your faith is bigger than religion?
Definitely.
So it doesn't matter what you practice or what you believe in. It comes from your heart and soul. Can you speak just a little bit about that?
Yeah. So something bigger than yourself, right? Whatever that belief is. Again, no judgment, but mine has been a guiding principle in what I lean into to be a better person, to operate in love. And what that means to me is, again, I am my first coaching client. And so giving myself grace, the grace that I believe in, showing that to myself first and modeling what that looks like in my own house. And then as I go outside of our home, how am I relaying that and displaying that to my fellow human man and woman? And that's part of humanity for me, is to show up that way. Because again, we just need to model this thing, right? We could talk about it all day, but the message of the doer is so much louder than the words of the orator.
Yes, absolutely. The message of the doer. So we do have a great question. Thank you, Lawrence, for unpacking a little bit more. Maya asked for some more examples of values in action.
Ooh.
Explain that a little bit more. Oh, Maya.
Yeah. So,
yes.
So once upon a time as a young coach, I also wanted to be a consultant, and my value of integrity came into question with a client who, in that conversation, coaching session's over. And I tried to transition into consultant, Lawrence, because they had some things going on, and business owner to business owner. And I got called out on some things, and very visceral call out, like screenshots of stuff, emailed it to me, long dissertation around how I disrespected her values. And immediately I was like, ooh, them fighting words. But then I dropped my gloves and I was like, okay, hold the space. How is she feeling? Where is she coming from? You know her background because you've been coaching her. And I was like, you know what? I'm sorry. The integrity of me was like, it's not you trying to make a point and argue if you're right or not. They don't believe you are. And so it's a losing battle if you try to go there with them right now in this space. So do the first right of apologizing for whether it was a misunderstanding or not, apologizing for the way they feel, acknowledge how they feel, validate their feelings as necessary for them, and then hold the space for reconciliation in the relationship. And so that was a real big one for me, in me acting out integrity. And then to me, that was operating in the value of excellence, in identifying I was wrong, saying I was sorry, and then making myself available.
Outstanding. Thank you for sharing. Maya, did that help? Thumbs up? Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you, Lawrence. We can probably all identify with a story like that, mm-hmm. where all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, holy fill in the blank. I like, and we what we need to do in those moments is unpack that. And you're right. Yeah. We need to pause. Mm-hmm. Stopping is different than pausing, my friends. Just like a response is different than an answer. Mm-hmm. Pause, because you got to give yourself time to figure it out. You knew this almost instantly, Lawrence, right?
Yep.
And the person felt it immediately, and it doesn't mm-hmm. matter what you think they think.
Yeah.
When you're so right. Acknowledge, apologize if you need. I almost never apologize because, frankly, we don't need to. But in those moments, we do need to.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Excellent question, Maya. Thank you so much. Any others? Lawrence, I'd be interested in your experiences with other people in leadership positions, as you yourself have been as an Army major while in the Army versus the private sector. Mm-hmm. Have you seen and experienced the impact of people in leadership positions who are poor or even awful and destructive leaders? Woo!
Yes.
Long question, short answer. Can you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah. So my first job, because at first, any veterans, anybody that's out there, one thing I would always say for us, if we led in any capacity, the military was taught different. There was a development to the way we led. And I would say release people from the expectation that they'll lead the way you were led. And I say that to myself because that's what I went in with, the understanding as if they had been to military training and there was development along the way. My first supervisors, one, I went to church with her and she was awful. And we used to have conversations where I would help her have conversations with my teammates, because she didn't want to engage. And my first job, I was on a passive aggressive team and trying to help supervisors supervise other passive aggressive people. I was like, ooh, yeah, I remember Soldier, Jim, and Jane. They act like just like them. And so I just had to release them from what my idea of a leader was, and meet them where they were, and then try to help them manage up. And it helped myself be managed well by giving them context and clues around what worked for me. And that's really how I did it.
Splendid. Thank you, Rob. Was that helpful? Okay, great. And also, Lawrence, what is your take on detachment?
Yeah. It's why
First
are
of all,
you attached?
Why don't you explain what detachment means to you?
Yeah, detachment means to me is releasing yourself from any outcomes and really disconnecting from it. Because I believe when I hear the word detachment, it's release. Just releasing it. Yeah.
Right. You still want the bigger goal,
Yep.
but there are lots of ways to get there.
For sure.
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm married to it.
And I'm going to shout out for Rob right now. He's got a terrific 2-part article on LinkedIn.
Nice.
Robert C. Hill on LinkedIn. Really nice article, Rob. And I'm not just saying that because we're friends. Like, I really appreciated your thoughtfulness on, go read it yourself. It's 2 parts. It's a LinkedIn article. Really, really nice one. And you two are both veterans. So there's you two would probably be a really good connection. So nice. Great. Maya, you say you've been struggling with reacting so easily, need to be more pause ability. That's a great way to think about it. Yeah. Take your time, literally take the time back. Give yourself that pause. Becky, you know this well, working in the industry, in the community you're in. Like if we give ourselves the time, Kimberly, you know this well, we got to give ourselves the time to let it work out. And so those actions, the values into action, if we rush, if we are in haste, we're not going to make the progress we want. I mean, heck, we got a time productivity expert in the room, Mark Elwood. He knows what this is all about. Like if we're rushing, there's some different things to reconsider. And leaders don't rush. Leaders support, nudge, push. They're a good boss. They don't rush, because rush can mean something else. And good for you, Maya, for doing some meditation. Good for you. Meditation can take all kinds of forms, my friends. In fact, for those of you who meditate, tell us how you choose to meditate in the chat, if you would, please. Like, there's all kinds of ways to do it. You don't have to sit on the floor, on your butt, in a lotus position with your hands on your knees. Meditating can be a walk. It can be all kinds of things. So write if you meditate and how you do it in the chat, if you would. All right, let's see here. There's some guided meditations on YouTube and Facebook. Yes, Jennifer, thank you for contributing. Check out SOS Meditation. All right, Headspace, I've heard of that one too. Julian Treasure has a really nice one that my fine husband, who I adore, uses as well. So that's a great question. Lawrence, we've just got a couple minutes left.
Yes.
What else are you inspired to share today about being a boss and really, really leaning into the life that you really want your life to be?
Yeah. Lean into what you may be calling the hard or the difficult or the tough stuff. Because on the other side of it is some really great enlightenment into yourself, into situations that they weren't as hard as you actually made them out to be. And so I lean into, particularly as I do organizational development work, particularly around culture. And there's this thing that people, when you say, hey, how you going to help me fix my culture? Well, let me help you with another word.
Beg your pardon.
What behaviors are you looking to shift or change or see better out of your people, right? And so it's always connected to behavior. There's some behavior change. When people say we have culture things, what behaviors are you seeing or you're looking to shift? And so I say lean into them because as you think about your purpose, is it a real thing for you? And if you're always running from it.
Hang on. Wait a minute. Did you just say, if you don't lean into your purpose, is it a real thing?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Skipped over that real quick.
Yeah, that is hot. No, that's fantastic because, when all of us have felt adrift, I'm going to throw a dart. All of us have felt adrift at some point or not connected. There's something, we're restless, we're unsure, those kinds of things. Yep. Those feelings are different than the unsurety that comes with knowing your purpose. Yeah. They are very different. because you keep going when you know your purpose.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So I apologize for intro. That was way
it's all good.
to let fly by.
You have to know I just throw stuff out there like that all the time.
That's good.
It's just bottled up there.
Glove on. Go ahead. Oh, excellent. Wonderful. What I would love, if you're all willing, is to give us a great big Zoom wave for about 3 seconds, because it's such a fine looking group. So give us a wave. Let us know you're here. There you go. All y'all, all across the country, all across the world. Thank you. And we are at the time. Originally, I was going to make it a 39-minute event because I only had 40 minutes on my Zoom, but you know what, now I have pro Zoom, so it doesn't matter. But I want to be really respectful of your time, because you don't need a lot to get a lot.
Yeah.
Lawrence has loaded us up today, 3 great lessons plus bonus. Lawrence, tell people the best way to reach you.
Yes. So I did put the site www.bossconsultingllc.net, but I'm also on LinkedIn. My full government name is Lawrence E. Henderson Jr. So you can find me. But also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all at Boss Lab, Boss, BOSSLLAB. That's where you can find me.
Outstanding. So if anybody does have questions, feel free to stick around. Unmute yourself. If you got to fly, we're totally grateful you were here today. Next month's juice, we'll keep building on the wonderful things that Lawrence has shared with us, our previous guests. We're going to have Giselle Chapman. Holy smokes, is she another ball of fire. So we're going to keep the juice rolling. Really appreciate you being here. Really appreciate when you share it with other people who will find this of value. These recordings will live on my YouTube channel as well. And so, Lawrence, thank you for being here. Everybody, Rob, John, Allie, Becky, Maya, Danielle, Mark, Kimberly, Jennifer, Larry, woo! You're amazing. If you need to fly, my friends, fly straight, fly with purpose. Remember, it's always a great day to connect, and we'll see you again soon. If you want to stick around and have a little chit chat, because that's what a lot of people are missing, please stay. Thank you so much.
I'm staying. Thank you.
Hi, so I have a quick question.
Please.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. I'm a licensed massage therapist. I missed the very beginning. So what did you and Ginger say that you did?
Go ahead, Lawrence.
Oh, I'm a coach. So I'm a professional coach, and I specifically focus in leadership and development. But also I'm a facilitator and a speaker as well. So you all can check out the TEDx talk that's out there.
Yeah.
Like a coach, like a life coach, or a coach in a gym?
No, I guess I appreciate that. Like a life coach, a personal development coach. Yeah, not fitness.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Although
I don't know, that just boosted my ego.
And Jennifer, just to be clear, did Allison, did you invite Jennifer?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you. We're so glad you're here. Where are you at, Jennifer?
I live in Connecticut, but trying to relocate back to New Jersey, where I used to live.
Okay, splendid, excellent,
Nice.
Very good. Well, we're so glad you're here. And thank you, Allison, for the graciously sharing. See, there you go. It's contagious. I connect the world, Jennifer. So what I do is I teach leaders like you how to connect on a world-class level, and I do that with coaching workshops, things like this juice. And that's my magic too. Tell us about give us a 2 or 3 sentence description of why you love being an LMT.
So you're a life coach also?
I don't call myself a life coach necessarily. I mean, if you want to use that word, that's fine. I teach skills on how to connect with people. So it's a very, very specialized area, because not everybody is comfortable sticking their hand out or sending a LinkedIn invite or having a conversation. So that's specifically what I teach. And gingerjohnson.com is my website. Jennifer, if you'd like to know more, I'd be delighted to have you check it out. So, yeah.
And what was your question for me?
Do you enjoy being an LMT?
Yes, I do. It's my passion.
Okay.
I enjoy working with, different people every time, and helping them feel better and helping them heal. I've been a licensed massage therapist for almost 4 years.
Okay.
And I enjoy learning new modalities all the time, and it's very interesting.
Excellent. Well, thank you. I hope you come back. I hope you got some great value from being here. We're glad you're here.
I did. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else have a question for Lawrence or a comment they want to share?
I have a question.
Go for it, Danielle.
So I work for a small nonprofit in Nashville, Tennessee, and nonprofit, we all wear a lot of different hats. And I am on our culture committee. Used to be called Culture Club.
Funny quotes.
It was Culture Club, and then they felt like that wasn't professional enough, I guess.
Oh, come on.
Change that. Sad day. Anyways, your comment about instead of using the word culture, what behavior changes need to take place. So we've been working on our culture for several years now, and the behavioral changes that need to take place are with leadership, with management. Do you have any advice or suggestions on that as we are all trying to manage up and have our leaders change and understand that they are part of the problem?
So I always love, and like Jennifer, in learning the different modalities, I love the different coaching modalities. And one of the ones that I love was coaching for performance and engagement. And again, as a practitioner of it, always leading with a question, being more curious than confrontational, and leading those conversations with examples of identified things that have happened. And always, I like to say, help them feel like the smartest person in the room, and almost present them as scenarios, because what you don't want to assume is they have the awareness that they're the problem. And so you either have a can't or a won't. And the can't, sometimes, again, they're unaware. And so there's needs to be some awareness, and you need to build context to where you're heading. And so depending on, they probably given you clues up to now, if they're a won't, and they're just kind of just going about it the way they want to. So yeah, I would present it in story form as something you need their help with. And then talk about behavior from that standpoint of, hey, these are some things we've been identifying at all levels, right? And start using we a lot as you talk through these things. Because again, the last thing somebody wants, you got the issue, you the problem. So that's the last thing, because they'll flex, and then you'll all end up voluntold doing stuff. So yeah, lead with we, and more curiosity than confrontation.
I like that. Thank you. That's very helpful.
And Danielle, and so thank you for asking that question. That's a great question.
That was awesome.
I'm going to encourage everybody here. The tax status doesn't matter
at all.
Here's what I mean by that. It doesn't matter if you are a legitimate for-profit or nonprofit or S-corp or government agency or anything. Please I'm going to encourage you. And Danielle, I know you and I are going to have a conversation anyway. It's only going to hold you back if you label yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're out to change the world, it does not matter what the structure is. What matters is what you want it to be. And Danielle, I would hate to see you fall into that culture of lack thinking that really is prevalent, unfortunately, in a lot of nonprofits. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter, because you still got to make money to progress the mission, right? Yep. So you and I, remind me, and we'll talk a little bit about that, because I can help you. Lawrence can help you. Like, let's help shift the behavior around those thinkings. Yeah. So great question.
And a lot of times, to Ginger's point, it's an equity thing. In the mind shift and the behavior shift is they actually don't have an understanding of the equity of a person or a thing, an organization. And so that's a lot where that kind of that lack mentality or that scarcity mindset can come from, is because the lack of understanding around the equity of something.
Yes.
And so find that with growing companies as well. So a couple of my newer clients are smaller growing tech companies that don't have development programs or development departments. So they have no concept of what good development programming looks like or how much it costs. And so there's constant education, constant development for their understanding. So that's good stuff. Right on. I love it.
Right on. And there's a huge difference between equity and equality, my friends.
Definitely.
We were talking about this earlier this week.
Definitely.
Focus on equity. If you're not quite sure the difference, skill up. Learn what the difference is. It's a huge difference. I know that was one thing I studied for 10 years with my previous business with Women Enjoying Beer. Rob, you and I have had conversations about this, and equity is very, very different than equality. John, I know you know what I'm talking about too. I mean, I think all y'all know this. It's a very different conversation for equity versus equality. We're not aiming for equality. please don't aim for equality. Aim for equity, equivalencies, different things. Mother Nature isn't equal. Anyway, yes, Maya, you're so right. Labels can be limiting. Please be very, very careful with the words you choose, because they are borders. Like, does it really matter that somebody describes you this way or that way? No, it doesn't. It matters what's in here, right? Mm-hmm. That's what's important. That's your why. Yep. And we're in a massive moment of opportunity, my friends. Massive. I've even been talking to Lawrence about this. I'm like, Lawrence, how do I support Black Lives Matter? Like, I'm not, he is, we're friends. He's helping me learn. Like, ask those questions. Don't hide. Don't just like put a flag out. Fine. But like, I didn't know what it was about. In fact, Lawrence, I want to share one nugget that you told me that totally changed things that I'm sharing with the people already. Like, I had one of my classmates in high school growing up from when I was a little girl till I graduated. Her name was Becca. And Becca and I were good friends. We were in Girl Scouts, we were marching band, all this stuff together. And Becca happened to be Black, but I never saw that. I didn't see her skin color as a skin color. I just saw her as Becca. And maybe all of us have a Becca. And I went to go downtown one time with Becca, and I lived in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. And my mom said, just be careful. Like, yeah, Mom. Thanks for the mom advice. And she's like, no. She said, be careful. Some people won't want to see a white girl walking with a Black girl. And I had never thought of that. And I shared this story with Lawrence. And like, thankfully, like, I hate that story, but I love that story all at the same time because it's a really big message for me. So Lawrence and I were talking, and I shared this story. I'm like, Lawrence, what can I do differently? How can I be better at this? And he said, don't use colorblind, use multicultural. Did I get that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like, all of a sudden that changes it, because we're all from different cultures. Yeah. So that was a huge gem. If that's useful for y'all, use it. Multicultural, so true. Colorblind, and we're still missing it. Exactly. Do you have any good, you're comfortable going there? Yeah. Does anybody have any questions on some of the activity that's going on right now with BLM? And we're not talking about the Bureau of Land Management. That's what first thing pops in my head. Like, oh, so this is an opportunity. If you have a question, Maya, unmute, go ahead and ask.
I wanted to share like a really positive thing is that I'm event manager for a hops company in Europe, and I am on the mailing list for, people want me to rent their food trucks, so have this business come and support some event by bringing their food. And the latest newsletter from that agency specifically was featuring Black-owned businesses in England. If I wanted to have food truck in the north of England or in multiple ones in London or around, and I just thought it was great that it's touching all kinds of industries and communities where I'm in the beer industry, they're in the food industry. It's like maybe you try to think that it might just be a justice and an equity thing, but it's every part of our lives, because it's just great to see that it's kind of welcome and being present and showing up in all kinds of facets of our lives, whether it's an industry or just part of our lives. And I thought it's just really great to also, even in England, I'm seeing people have Black Lives Matter posters in their windows, and I'm in like not a huge town here, so it's very, very encouraging. Yeah, it's
good stuff. Outstanding. Thank you, Maya.
Positive.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, excellent. All right, well, any parting shots?
Yeah, as you all navigate this world we live in, I'll say it again, lean in, have fun with it, and bring people along for the ride. I'm so grateful for Ginger for inviting me to hang out with you guys today. But yeah, connect with me. I say connect, not network with me. Connect.
That's right.
Because I want to know what you have going on in the world, because I may end up tagging you in a post and connecting you with somebody. I love getting out of the way of magic happening. So yeah, let's connect.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Take very good care. Reach out anytime and join us next month for another great episode of The Juice. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.